Good morning and welcome everyone to the Trading Success Blueprint, the Beginners Online Trading webinar. My name is Danny and I will give you the webinar today. So first, before we'll begin the webinar, we'll have a quick explanation how the webinar is going to happen. So the first part will be more of an introduction to the company and the services we have here in this facility. We'll talk more about the platform and this interface, which by the way is not anything that you need to install or download. The second part will be more practical. We'll dive into the basic essentials, what we should know when we are trading, just the basics, the basic idea, how to approach the market and so on. Some basic calculations as well. We'll talk about the value, leverage, margin, and if we'll have spare time at the last part, at the third part, we'll make some analysis. Okay, we'll look into analysis, Again, this is a webinar for beginners, so we're not going to do anything too crazy, but we'll definitely have a better idea how trading works and how to approach as a beginner. Okay. Any capital markets and trading information disclosed in this webinar is provided for informative purposes only and should not be constructed or applied as an investment advice, recommendation, or a suggestion. Now, I am aware that some parts in this webinar might be complicated and need to be recapped. Now, in order to see the webinar again, all you have to do is just to go to our YouTube channel and to look for the Beginners Online Trading webinar. Usually it happens on the same day. It means that hopefully today, later on, the webinar will be already provided, uploaded to YouTube, but no guarantees. Okay, there will be recording. It will be our channel, which you can find later on and recap in your own pace. Let's just get a notepad for the notes. Like I said, the first part is more of an introduction to the company. So as you guys know, AvaTrade exists since 2012. Since 2006, sorry, we have 9 licenses worldwide. In case you got a query or a question, it's right here at the bottom left. So this interface, as I have explained a minute ago, is already embedded in the website. Therefore, to get to here, all you have to do is just to log in with your email and password. And then you can click on web trading or web trader, depends which device you're using, and you will be directed to this interface. Okay, if you are anywhere on the website, let's say you are on here, and you would like to go back to the full screen, all you have to do is just to click here on AvaTrade icon, and you are back to the default screen. All right, so as I said, in case along the journey you have a question or a query, you can access the customer service here through the live chat or the WhatsApp, whatever you prefer. And if you're using a different interface, different than what we are using today, and you still wish to contact the customer service, you can directly send them an email to cs@avatrade.com. Apart from that, to give you support on the trading side, we can assign a senior account manager on your profile, and he will support you and give you assistance depending on what you need. So you can have customer service to give you customer service, and a senior account manager to basically trade, to provide you with everything under the trading umbrella. So that means trading plan, analysis, risk money management, everything you can imagine a senior account manager should be able to assist you with. It doesn't cost anything as an addition, so I highly recommend, if you've already funded your account, to contact the customer service and ask a senior account manager to be assigned on your file and give you support. Now, as I said, this is the web trader. Okay, on the app it looks a bit different, but it's called the AvaTrade trading app. Okay, apart from that, we have the regular platforms, MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. And as an addition, we have, it's a different concept of trading. Okay, and it's called Ava Options. Actually, let me put that at the bottom because I would also like to say a few things about Ava Social, as this is a webinar for beginners, and I think it's appropriate to mention. All right. So Avasocial is a very unique platform that is a social trading platform. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to do two main features, two main functions, which is to follow or to copy. Now, if let me step back just so we will have a little bit of similarity how it looks like in the app. In the app, you will have lists of traders for you to either follow or copy. By clicking follow, you can basically follow a strategy, an existing strategy of a different trader. And what will happen is you will receive notifications with the positions that the person you're following automatically. And it's for you to decide after you receive that message if to do things accordingly or to use it as perhaps some kind of indication. Okay, you use it to trade exactly as you receive. You can use it for research and then maybe shape your own strategy and have an idea, better idea what to do. Okay, but it doesn't launch any position automatically. Everything needs to be done by you. Okay. On copying, on the other end, it works similarly, but the positions will be executed automatically. Therefore, if I'm copying another trader, what will happen is I will still be able to review the positions that he's taking, but the positions will be launched automatically. Okay, so in copy, we have automated trading, which our account will trade as we are copying another trader. And with following, we will just get the messages and we choose if to do it or not. Okay, the unique thing about Avasocial is that you don't have to exactly follow the trader, and you can modify the difference in the lot size if you wish. So for me, let's suppose that I'm using a demo account. It has 10,000. Let's suppose that I'm following someone, that I'm copying someone with, let's say, much bigger amount. Let's say 100,000 or 200,000. Okay, so naturally, somebody with a much bigger account can perhaps use much bigger lot size. And this is not something that my account will necessarily be able to withstand. Therefore, what I can do is once you download the app, you'll see that there. I can choose to still copy his strategy, but I want my trades to be at the minimum or something else that I choose, so I can modify in the app. Okay, that gives me the ability to test. That gives me the ability to observe and choose if this is for me or not. Of course, I don't have to modify, and I can go exactly as the trader trade, but I do have this ability, and that's quite amazing. Okay, so we are going to carry on with that. So I'd rather separate that from the others. By the way, the app itself, to download it, is for free. So there is really no reason, if you're a beginner, there's really no reason to check that out. All right, now everything that I'm going to show you now are features that can be found on this interface, not MT4 or MT5. Okay, like I said, the majority of the things we see here you can find on the app as well, but naturally, because I'm using a desktop interface and on the app it will be presented on a phone, it might look a bit different. Okay, let's begin with the things we have here on the left. Okay, we'll also speak about that in the next segment, but currently we don't really need it. Okay, so beginning from the top, here I can find all my personal information. Here there is the trade which we are at right now. In here I can review my positions, order, history, okay, things that I traded, and underneath we have the signals. Okay, so we're gonna go one by one, speaking briefly about the signals, then carry on down. Okay, so to access the signal sections, I can do it, the signals, I can do it in two ways. One of the ways, let me just quickly go back just to show you. Even if I'm using the default interface, and it does have some advantage which I'm going to show you. Okay, so let's suppose currently I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do, and I choose to use the signal service. The signal service is highlighted by this blue lightning icon here. Sometimes it appears next to the asset's name, next to the instrument. Let me scroll down just to show you that it's not always, you see, it's not always here. Not all instruments has a signal, okay, but some has. Okay, now I can click on here on the blue thing, and then it directs me to the signal specifications. Now, as you can see, the signal is constructed with support and resistance. There are some levels here to the right. I can expand the screen also, and I can go through the details here and decide how I'm going to use the signal. We have a sell scenario, we have a buy scenario. Okay, and then I can simply click sell or buy. Let's go with the buy. And I have a take profit and stop loss already placed for me. Okay. Now, of course, we're going to go a little deeper in terms of how to use the signal and how it's constructed, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is to use the signal from here and not from the signal section. Now, it does have an advantage using it from here and not from the signal section. Okay, let's suppose, because on the signal section, let me just show it to you again. In the signal section, if I would like to look for a specific instrument, let's suppose that I'm more into gold and, well, gold is right here. So let's suppose I'm into something else like NASDAQ, and I want to see if signal has a NASDAQ, if NASDAQ has a signal. All right. Now, in order for me to do it from the signal section, I have to basically go down. I have to go down and find NASDAQ. Or I can do it through here, through the categories, go to indices, and then to find NASDAQ. Okay, that's one way. And now I can see, okay, NASDAQ has a signal from not too long ago, and that's great. However, I have to find it manually. Now, I don't always want to do that. So if I would like to know if NASDAQ has a signal and I want to do it here from the outside, okay, a very nice trick is just to look for NASDAQ here, click it, and then we immediately see that it does have a signal, and I can just click it and bring it up just like that. Okay, I don't have to manually search it from the signal section. Okay, but if I don't have a specific instrument and I would like to get a general idea what is worth trading, and I just want to use the signals, so I can go to the section and pick from the list. Okay, keep in mind that this is by a linear time frame. That means that this is the newest, and obviously this is the oldest. Okay, and that has some importance, and the reason is that each signal was produced on a certain with a certain approach on a specific price. That means that the level expected to get to the signal are, okay, let me just show you. Let's suppose we'll take oil, click here on view signal, expanding the chart. One of the things that I'd like to do is to make sure that the picture in here and the picture here has the same levels. Okay, so as we can see, the higher resistance, just to simplify what support and resistance are, okay, this is still a webinar for beginners. So as you can see, we have candlesticks here. We are looking at 1 minute. That means that each candle here represents 1 minute. We'll go down to 5 minutes. Each candle then become 5 minutes candle. Same goes for daily candles. Now each candle is a day. Now, support and resistance are edge points on the chart that helps us understand potential reversal and to capture the trend in a better way. As you can see, I've marked the visible support and resistance that I see, but in here there are different levels. So for me to see the levels that are here, I have to match the validity of the picture to the right. Let me just quickly go back to show you. So unfortunately, if I would like to do additional analysis on top of the signal, I cannot see the level that is here. And the level that is here is 70 and a half. And 70 and a half is not presented. Why is that? That is because this picture is 1 minute candle. And in here, this is daily. So of course, the picture in here is much more zoomed in into the market, and I have to step back. Step back to 1 day. And then of course the level is visible, just like in the picture here. And I can modify and do further analysis just like I want to. Okay, 70 and a half. Of course, everything that I'm showing you now, guys, is not mandatory, and it's just as an addition to give you a better idea how to understand and utilize the signals. Now, let's suppose that I don't want to go, I don't want to do all of that. I can just then click buy or sell, and take profit and stop loss will be placed automatically for me. Now, let's speak a little bit about take profit and stop loss. Again, just to understand the idea here. So as we can see, this is, at least from the signal, we get an idea that this is a buy type. So let's assume that this is a buy type. Okay, let's click here, buy. And as you can see, immediately I have the take profit and the stop loss already placed. And of course, as an addition to the signal, I can modify this to the higher resistance if I really want to. I can also modify the lot size if I want to. I can bring it down. Okay, I can maybe increase it. Okay, no problem. So that means that I still have control on my position even though I'm using a signal. Now, let's suppose I like to keep it like this. And one of the unique features we have here in the platform is that immediately we can see that the possible profit is 500, the possible loss is almost 300. And again, while we are modifying the take profit and the stop loss, this will change accordingly. Now, you're probably asking yourself what exactly the take profit and the stop loss are. So they are regular orders. That means execute in the market price, which I can just click here, buy or sell, and it will launch the position right now. And there are pending orders. Pending orders are orders that needs to be triggered, okay, from either above or below in a certain type. So we have execute when price hits. So that means that if I mark, let's say 68 flat, okay, as my entry, and I place here 68, okay, and then what will happen is you must remember that it acknowledges what we have here on the top. So if you plan to potentially buy, it needs to be here on a buy. Okay, if this was on a sell, the execute price hits would go with a sell. And what it does is it launches the position automatically. Okay, this is one type of pending order. This is similar to pending buy or pending sell with MT4 or MT5. Okay, that launches the position automatically. And if we're looking at the take profit, what it does is it closes the position automatically with a profit, and stop loss closes the position automatically with a loss. In other words, if I believe that oil will get to 770 and a half, okay, then if it gets to here, it's going to close it with a profit, making me $500. And if it gets down to, God forbid, 68.90, then I will lose 290. Okay, this is super simple. This calculation, if you're using MT4 or MT5, needs to be done manually. You need to do this manually, and you can never know how much you can lose or gain just by looking at the MT4, MT5, and in here, it's automatic. Okay, and you can see that if I will increase, this will increase. I decrease, this will decrease accordingly. Okay. All right. So this is very, very easy to understand. The signal sections just 3 clicks away and you're there. One more thing I would like to mention regarding the blank areas we see here. Okay, so as you can see in USD CAD, we don't get the take profit and the stop loss presented in the signal. How come? That because, as I have explained 5 minutes ago, the signals are composed on a certain approach, on a certain price, expected to get to certain levels. What happens when the market has passed those levels? Let's just click here on view signal, and we can read right away that the market has already reached a key level, which makes the current signal futile. Okay, this is why there is certain importance to when the signal was produced, until what price it's valid, because if it passes certain levels, we're not going to be able to use the signal. So even if I'll try and click here on sell, we don't get the take profit and the stop loss. Okay, we don't get that because, as we saw, the signal has already passed the levels expected. Do we have any questions about the signal section? Anything not understood? Anything you would like me to recap before we're moving on? You recommend to use them every day? All right, Nora, so you're asking if I recommend to use the signals every day. That depends on your strategy. That depends on many things. I can only say that you can use the signals, freely. So just use it whenever you think it's right. Okay, the tool is here. Now let's go down a bit farther to the news section. In the news section, it's important to say that this is considered technical analysis, and it's provided by the Trading Central and not by AviTrade. And what we're going to look at now is fundamental analysis. And as you can see here, it's also provided by the Trading Central. And as you can see here, this is news, so this is fundamental analysis. We had the technical analysis from the signals. Now we can review and see fundamental analysis. And also mentioned here below, if I go through this article, and I can see here at the bottom related instruments, if I'll click it to fold it down, I can see also potentially which instruments can be impacted by this, what's written here. Okay, perhaps oil, gold, Bitcoin, or Aussie versus dollar might have an impact from what's written here. Other than that, I can simply go through the categories and choose what I want. So for instance, I'm a big fan of stocks, and I would like to know what happens. Okay, we have some US market brief that indices fluctuate and midweek housing data for NVIDIA earnings anticipation. We can also go through here and see that this might have an impact on Dow Jones. Okay, and S&P. Okay, all right. So we get the idea here. I can also refresh or maybe go to general. All right, let's keep going down. This is self-explanatory, so I don't want to delay about it too much. In here in discovery, we have analysis views, we have market buzz. Okay, so this is something worth mentioning. Just a second, we're gonna. Okay, as we can see, NVIDIA, not surprisingly at all, is right here in the middle with 684 mentions. Now, the way that this is constructed is customizable, and you can choose to change it to your liking. Also, if it's bubble or a table, okay, whatever you prefer. I like to keep it this way, just a little more comfortable, at least in my opinion. And if I'll go with NVIDIA, I clicked on the bubble, of course. I can then see that this is separated to different topics, and I can choose to focus on on, let's go with partnership. And then it's going to show me the articles related to the partnership. Right here, we have earning announcements, price tag raised, earning above expectations, and earning guidance lowered. Okay, all these things can be reviewed. In here, you also see the difference, expected difference, the price may rise, all those kind of things which you can go through and just enhance your fundamental analysis with NVIDIA. Of course, it doesn't have to be NVIDIA. As I just showed you, you have many things to choose from, which are popular now, and it has mentioned online. Okay, if we carry on down, also this is some ideas. This is the calendar. Maybe it's also worth mentioning just for a minute or two. I think the economic calendar is a super powerful tool that can also enhance our fundamental analysis, giving us an idea to what direction the market will fluctuate according to the results presented in here. And how they are presented, let's first go through the selection, just making sure that nothing is selected. Okay. And now, as we can see, I'm just scrolling up and down. Okay, as we can see, it's a bit difficult. It's a bit difficult to see, but let's try. I don't know if you guys noticed that this is gray, a little bit more gray than the bright segment down here. You see there is a red line separating. So those events has already occurred. Okay, and here at the bottom is things that yet to happen. So this one is a little more gray, this one is a little more white. And the way that it's constructed, I think I have to filter it to show it to you closer to the menus. Okay, so let's just filter one of the countries. Let's go with US. Okay, and all I did is just by clicking here on US, and then it's showing me only US. If I would like to add the pound as an example, I can click it and it will show me the pound as well. I can also capture specific dates. So this is showing me today, 20th November. And if I would like to see also events for the upcoming week as an example, so I can click here on the 20, then click here on the 27, and then I have this bluish trail created, showing me that it's showing me the dates between the 20th all the way until the date that we choose. Okay, very, very simple. Now, of course, I don't want to go through all of that. It takes some time. Here's a question here from Jacqueline. Can you please make high impact news? I was exactly. I was about to go through exactly that. Of course, now it's showing us the low. And let's suppose that we would like to focus only on major events, and currently we don't see any. So what will happen if we'll click here on high? So we have an importance, low, medium, and high. What will happen if I'll click on high? It's just not going to present okay, let's unmark the low. And as you can see, it's just not going to present anything. This is not an error. This is simply because, let me switch low back and turn off high. That's just because those events are not high impact event. They're not medium either. Okay, they're not medium either, otherwise it would show us to us. So if we expand the date from the 20th all the way to, let's exaggerate and choose December, and then again mark the high and unmark the low, then it's going to show us that we have some high impact events. As you can see, many high impact events. Okay, I can go for medium. if I would like to. Of course, I can keep them both. I can keep them both. I deselected the low and the high, so it will be separated, but I can have all of them together. Okay, let's keep it high only for now. Okay, and what I wanted to show you is very, very simple how it works. So this is obviously presenting us if this is a high, medium, or low. This is the actual, so this will only appear on things that already took place, like we had in the beginning. And this is the expected change, so 224,000, let's say, for the initial jobs claim on November. And this is the previous result. Okay, previous result, we're expecting an increase, and eventually when this event will take place, it will be presented in here and will turn gray. Okay, remember, let me just quickly go back. Remember that what looks like that and has an actual are things that already took place. You can also see when. Okay, you see this is a little grayer if I'll compare it with things yet to happen, right? Gray, white, gray, white. Okay. And as we saw, to filter a specific currency, it's really that easy. You click here on all countries. Let's now go with the CAD. Okay, clicking on the CAD, Canadian dollars. So we have here all the Canada news. Okay, click on reset. And I think that is enough for now. Let's carry on with the second part, expand the chart so we'll have a lovely view. And I think that oil didn't look too bad. Gonna bring it up and click here on buy because we have 3 bullish candles that might hint for a buy. Why not? We can use it as an example anyway. And in here in the top, I'm gonna write down the asset we're analyzing, which is crude oil. And to find crude oil for short, you can just put CL and choose crude oil. All right. Okay, so as I have explained 10 minutes ago, we have here the time frame section. Just before we get to the practical part, would like us to quickly go through the toolbar to understand how the toolbar is constructed. So from the left-hand side, we see the instrument's name. Then we have the time frame in here. We can see that the time frames are divided to different segments from minutes, hours. Let me go down a bit. Days, weeks, and months. And there is a blue light toggle here, thin toggle that I can click and just drag up and down to my liking, or just to click and scroll down with the wheel on my mouse. So I can scroll down, switch to, oh, we're already on days. Okay, and another nice trick to teach you guys is how are you able to move the chart up and down. Because currently, if I would like to see a higher level to mark this level as potential resistance, I cannot do it because the chart doesn't really move up and down, right? It moves left and right, but it doesn't move up and down. If I click and drag, nothing happens. So in order for me to be able to do it is to click anywhere in this column price. Okay, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to grab that line. Just to separate, you see that there is a price column in here, right? I can click anywhere in here. Let's say here, okay, as an example. And if I click and drag up or down, then it lets me move the chart up and down as well. Okay, it lets me move the chart up and down, which I couldn't be able to do. All right, let's customize it even a bit more. And now I can comfortably place the resistance that I wanted to. And I can place the support down there. And I can place another one here. And I think that's enough. Now, when we're looking at oil, as we saw, it's potentially going up. Okay, is this enough for me to take a buy position, guys? or I'm missing some ingredients? Okay, again, my question is, this is the third time we see oil for the past 3 days going up. This is a bullish candle, right? So we have 3 of those, and we can potentially see oil is heading up. Is this enough for me to take a buy? Not really. Why not really? Because if I'll take a buy now, it might potentially turn around along the way. Okay, from the picture that we get, we see that there is no absolute consistency for an asset to go only up or only down. Why? As we can see here, the market fluctuates in different ways, and as you can see, their up or down is presented on different candles. Okay, if we could see some segment that the market was, let's capture, this is the most recent bullish trend we get with consistency. As you can see, from the 1st of October, it went up straight, almost. It fluctuated down a couple of times. But the idea here, guys, is that the direction is temporarily. It's temporarily, and for me to either take a buy or sell, I need to capture till what price I think that oil can get to. Because if I'll take here buy, and oil goes up to, let's say, to 70 is an example. Let's switch to 4 hours. Okay, let's suppose that it gets to 70 and then it turns back to 68.5. Okay, it might be easier to just do it this way, and then it's easier to understand the profit area and the loss area. I'll change it, this one to green. Okay, just to establish something very simple, guys. If I'm buying something, my intention is that the value will increase. And of course, when we are selling something, our intention is that the value will decrease. Now, if we took the buy right now, and then it potentially went to 70, I can close the position and make profits until that point. If it goes back and go beyond the current price, go lower than that, that means that in here, I will have a loss. So I need to know until what price approximately I think that oil will get to, and this way I can design the position in a way that makes sense and to place a take profit or a stop loss to assist me. Okay, let's take that down and expand that just a little higher. Okay, and as you can see, if I know where to aim, I can potentially design the position this way and to know what to expect. Okay, without those measurements, what can happen is I can click a buy, and in 5 minutes exactly, oil will drop down. Let me just show you once again. Okay, this is 5 minutes candle, and it's not too complicated to see that the direction is changing quite frequently. Okay, quite frequently. There is not only red or only buy. There's some cases which is more red or more Y, but eventually the direction will change. All right, so Danny, how can we overcome this? Of course, I'm going to teach you guys some techniques. Let's assume that this is a buy. Let's keep it as a buy. Let's enable the take profit and enable the stop loss and enable the execute when price hits, and we'll modify them. Now, even if I'll take the buy and go slightly higher, I need to close the position and take the profit on the spot in order to, I need to close the position while it's higher to get the profit. How much profit? I still don't know. How much money am I using to use this position? I still don't know. So those things that we need to go through. In order for me to compose the position a bit more easily, I first have to state a certain target. Let's suppose that the target for this particular case will be 500, and I also would like to capture a certain time frame. Why? Because as we saw, if I'm going to analyze 5 minutes, it's not really relevant to the picture that we're seeing now, which seems entirely different. Okay, while I have the time frame in mind, I also it also helps me capture how long I should sustain the position. If I'm planning to make 500, it could be 500 in a week, a month, a year, or something like that, which I'm not sure I'll be happy to make 500 in a year or even in a month. In a week, it might be more reasonable. Okay, so it also helps me match the position composition to my ambitions. Okay, apart from that, we also need to capture some movement. As we understood, there are certain levels on the chart. It might not get to here, might not get to here. Okay, we need to know. So we're going to use some tools to help us understand that. All right, so the movements are the price change, okay, the price difference. And apart from that, lastly, we also need to know what size position is necessary for us to achieve the goal that we're trying to make. All right, so to find the movements, I have few ways. One, I can go manually. I have to enable the crosshair, okay? As you can see, if I move now with my hand across the chart, nothing is showing. There is no data from the candles, okay? In order for me to get data from the candles, I have to switch from no crosshair to crosshair, and then while I hover with my hand, we get the data from the candles. Okay. Now, as you can see, each candle has a different values, different intervals, which we can accumulate, and we can have an idea what the average movement will be. Therefore, if we're looking at yesterday, and yesterday was the 19th, okay, as we can see, it's written here 19th, right? If I'll take the 19th, and I look at the open, close, high, and lows, and I'm just going to quickly jot it down. Of course, you guys don't have to do that. Guys don't have to do that because we're going to use an indicator, but still, it's also good to know this in general. Okay, so I'm simply copying the numbers that we have here at the upper left. High will be 69.72. Low will be 68.47. And now all we have to do is just to subtract the open from the close and the high from the lows. So that's 68.93 minus 69.31. Okay, and then we have 69.72 minus 68.47, which is 125. Okay, and now we see that yesterday oil has moved from 68.93 all the way up to 69.72. Okay, sorry, it began going down. How can we know that? Because it's green. Okay, it started here 68.93. First it went down, and then it went higher and closed not at the top but in here. How could I know that? Because the shape of the candle. Just a second, we'll quickly capture that out. Okay, and as we can see, this is where it closed. Okay, this is where it closed, and just a second, this is where it started. So this is specifically yesterday, and as we anticipated, it started going down, it went a little higher, but eventually it closed in here. We can see that it tried to pull down as well. This is This is an amazing candle. Okay, that hammer here that we see, that hammer actually confirms that oil was trying to go down. This is the third tail that we see, but eventually it bounced up. Okay, and this could be a confirmation for the support that we see here. Never mind. I don't want to complex anything. Let's just carry on with the plan that we jot down. Okay, so one way to measure the averages is this, what I wrote down. The problem is this is just a single candle, and you guys saw that it took me half a minute to do it. And if I would like to include maybe 10 or 15 or 20 candles, it's very time consuming, because then I'll have to accumulate all those differences and divide it by the amount of candles that I took. Okay, a process that can take a good few minutes, maybe much more than a few minutes if you're not good at mathematics. And this is why what I'm going to show you now is an indicator that does exactly that automatically. And let's go to FX indicators, and in here type the filter. We're going to write down AVE for average and simply click and drag it to the right. And in here at the bottom we see settings, average true range. The length is the amount of candles we wish to take to analyze. The average type could be Wilder, simple, weight, or exponential. I always keep it at Wilder, so I think it's the most precise for me. And in the ATR is number of lines we wish to have on the chart. I think one is enough, and if I'll need more, I'll add more. I'd like to change that to a different color from the colors presented on the chart, so I'll know the difference for the ATR. And as we can see, the ATR for oil is 1.5037, which matches, oh, it doesn't match. Sorry, it doesn't match to the manual check that we did, right? It doesn't match. As you can see, the candle here is different in size than the prior, and that guy as well. And I can change, let's go back, and I can change the amount of candles it's taken. So instead of 14, I can make it just 6 or 7, let's say, and then click save, and the ATR will change accordingly, because now it doesn't go back 14 candles, it only goes back 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That will be the red one in here, the bearish one. Okay, and then we have an average. Now, with this average in mind, let's suppose that the average was 1.5, as we saw. Okay, and I'd like to use it to potentially determine where my take profit is going to be. So because I'm with the buy, the simple thing to do is to simply add it on top of my on top of the price, right? That means that let's take 69.5. On top of that, the ATR brings us to 71. So on average, I can expect oil to get to somewhere around that price. Of course, it's not a guaranteed number, but it's definitely giving me a direction. It's painted in green. And I'll also set the take profit to 71. Now, if I only had 0.01, I would had 10 barrels. We'll understand in a moment why. Okay, then $1.50 will make me almost $15. How is that? How does that make sense? That's because when we're trading oil, one lot, let's place one lot has 1,000 barrels. One lot has 1,000 units, 1,000 barrels of oil. 10% of a lot has 100. Okay, again, 10% of 1,000, 100. 1% of 1,000 is 10. Therefore, by default, because in AvaTrade 0.01 is what I can take, it will be 10. If I would have another asset with a different load size, like gold as an example, and I would see what's the one lot for gold, I would see that for gold, one lot is 100 units. And then 10% of it is 10, and then 0.01 is really 1. Okay? But because with oil, the load size is different, and the load size is 1,000, and the bare minimum is 0.01. Then the bare minimum is 10 barrels. Okay? Now, because I have 10 barrels, and the difference between the price that we're having to the price that I'm aiming for is $1.50. So $1.50 times 10. There we go. $1.50 times 10 is 15. So we see here 15, right? Okay, and if I wish to make 500, what I need to do is to divide my 500 by the potential movement that I'm expecting, and then I can see that the necessary units that I need to take is approximately 333. So let's suppose we're going to just take, sorry. Okay, so why is it not? I wanted to show you that it doesn't let me do it because the increments, the increments for oil is per 10, right? So I can choose to either round it to 330 as an example, or to maybe 340. Never mind. Let's keep it. I think 330 is the close one, but we could expand it if we really insist to make the precisely the amount that we want. We can just increase it, okay? But for now, let's keep it as it is. Okay, and as we can see, the price has changed quite since we measured it. So we can simply change it to what we need. Okay, let's keep it like this for now. It's not exactly 500, but I think it's close enough. 330 instead of 333, we could. So this would have been a flat 500. Okay. Okay. Now, when we completed the 4 ingredients, we can then confirm that this position is valid in terms of margin, and this is something that we can take. Before we'll go through that, let's also look at the take profit. So for instance, if the take profit would have been same distance as if the stop loss would have been the same distance as the take profit, so we would need to subtract it from the current price and not to add it, as we were with the take profit since we are with a buy. So let's go 69.5 minus 1.5, and that brings us to 68. Of course, we're going to get similar figure because the formula works the same way. Okay, and now let's confirm that we can indeed take this position. So we have the price per unit, which is 69.6. We have the amount of units, which is 330, equals value. Value 22,981. I didn't do it in my head. I'm just looking at here where it says value, and in the value, we're going to find out price per unit times the amount of units. So if this would have been one lot, so we would then multiply that value by 1,000, and of course 69.6 times 1,000 worth 69,600. Okay, and since we have 330, then the value is 22,974, or the value written here. And then we also have leverage. Of course, without leverage, we would have needed this much. With leverage, we only need, let me show it to you in a second. We only need 10%. How so? Because we can divide the value by the leverage, and then we get the margin impact. Margin impact means the necessary amount to open the position. Okay. So let's quickly do that together. Okay, just like that. Super simple. Again, I didn't do it in my head, it's just written here already. If you're using MT4, MT5, this thing needs to be calculated the same way that I showed here. If you're using the web trader, all those things are presented here automatically. You don't have to think too much to do this calculation because it will change accordingly. If I will expand it by $1, then you see the price change, potential price change. Really simple. Of course, if you're using two screens, you can have MT4, MT5, and this on the other screen to help you with the calculations. But as you saw, the process here is very simple. First, we put down the 4 ingredients: target, time, movements, and units. We just decided what amount we want during what time, and then we apply the indicator average true range to give us an average. We can also modify the amount of candles we take by changing the length here at the top. Once we had the average, all we had to do is to add it on top of the price to have an idea where can be the take profit. And once we've placed the take profit, we changed the lot size, okay, accordingly by dividing the target by the movements, and this way we could know that this is the necessary amount of units. We've also learned that because oil has a bare minimum of 10 units, we couldn't have the 333. Instead, we had to modify this to 330 in increments of 10. The following step that we took is to assure that we can take the position, and we saw that the margin requirement to take this position is 2,297 and not 22,977 that we should have needed if we didn't use the leverage. Okay, I am aware that this process might take time, and not everybody has the patience to go through this process and to learn it, but that's completely fine. The tools that I'm giving you here are entirely up to you how to use. In the meantime, guys, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. I would like to invite you guys to tomorrow's live Q&A. There you can continue if you have any additional questions to join us and see the answers on the screen. All right, guys. So besides that, best of luck with trading and have a good day.